Everybody, Chris and Lumen here. It's been a rough couple days. Some stuff happened a couple nights ago, and then I immediately got sick after that, which I don't normally ever get sick. So when I do, it hits me pretty hard. And it's not it's not that easy to tap into, focus on, and channel spirit when your body's working against you. But we're getting it under control. I figure it should be pretty much cleared by tomorrow. I've been doing every energetic thing possible, taking every good supplement that I have possible. I got some Gabe's organic elderberry syrup made locally. Pouring shots of that and putting it up on her altar. It's been for me, it's basically just a sneezing, coughing thing that drives me absolutely freaking insane. But as it's all going on, I'm getting lessons fed to me by Sophia, and I was seeing a lot of other types of signs and symbols going on at the same time. So I'm just going to share with you everything that I see. Now, the main point of this particular video is going to have to do with the body and how you have to absolutely positively 100% understand your body, what it is, and how you relate to it. And then we will also maybe touch on some of these other signs and symbols that I've been seeing. And I think it's all relevant because it's been going very, very closely intersected with Kenneth's videos, which generally indicates that, they're doing it. But me being what I am and what I see, when it comes to like the subject of the body, which I'm going to use a different word here, like my viewpoints can be a little bit harsh and blunt because everything is harsh and blunt. So whenever we talk about these things that we talk about are like the primary types of things that entrap you and keep you from being connected to spirit, keep you trapped, mired in this place, in conflict and anger and all this types of stuff. So if I say something and it pisses you off, you need to take note of, if you're absolutely serious about this stuff, take note of it. Take note of it, because something doesn't like me saying it. And our goal here is to get as many people as possible to pass the test and win the game as we can. Because a lot of what the hero's journey reveals is, what is there to be overcome? Well, if someone does that, then we're able to tell people about these different things. And then if you have enough awareness and you're putting up enough effort, then perhaps you can accomplish what you need to accomplish another way. Anyway, so if you want to know more, don't go away. All right, first, we're going to talk about the main thing first. And this is one that I feel is kind of icky and hard to hear. And I get that. I know there's a lot of people that want to put, pieces of rainbow cotton from unicorn farts in their ears and be like, no, there's nothing but love and light, and get mad at me. But that's not how it works. But we have to be able to transmute ourselves in, despite that. We have to grow our light so that it overcomes that which is dark and dead. All the life comes from us. All the life comes from Sophia. But this is a very particular realm, and it's something that takes a lot of Gnostic experience to truly see and understand. But once you do, it makes sense of everything that you see. The reason why people don't just see everything all at once is because it really is, this experience is kind of like bad. So the veils have to be pulled off slowly, and they're pulled off in accordance with how much you're growing your light so you can handle it. So the more light you have, the more darkness you can see. Okay, then you know what to do. Then you know how to handle it. But that doesn't mean it's not there. Like sometimes it's right in front of your face. And the reason why people don't want to know it, don't want to look at it, is because they feel guilty. Well, you shouldn't, not really, because this place is designed to make you feel guilty. And it's not your fault you didn't get a handbook. It's not your fault everything wasn't disclosed to you. You have to work through it. It's a trap. You gotta let it freaking go. Nobody's judging anybody here whatsoever. You got something? Here's the Jinx wants to get involved with the video, don't you? Hey, look at her. Look at the people. Look at them. Look at the people. Do you want to go outside? You want to go outside? You want to go outside? You want someone to get scratched? All right, let me get this little fur flesh ball outside so we can continue our discussion. Don't you? Don't you? Anyway, let's try and go in. Let's go in order, shall we? Now, just before we get, so we are going a little bit out of sync since we're going to go in order, because right before we got to the current topic about the body, I did start seeing things pop up again, which I posted some stuff about. Signs and synchronicities. You can tell if it's a sign or a synchronicity by feeling, because you feel through the heart, you feel through Sophia. And the other day when I was going through the streaming services, I mentioned that all of a sudden there was all these, like every flavor of apocalyptic movie or TV show was showing up on the streaming services. I'm like, huh, what's up with that? And then I went and checked the other night, and it was all about tornadoes. So on Netflix, there's a documentary about the Joplin, Missouri tornado from 2009. And then Amazon had something else about tornado. There was a whole bunch of freaking tornado stuff. Tornadoes has always been one of the key things that she showed me when it comes to the Day of the Lord type stuff. All the way back in 2023, it was like tsunamis and tornadoes. I think Kenneth was talking about tsunamis the other day. And tornadoes is more, they happen more in like the Midwest United States. So I've always felt like, the tornado had more to do with that. But she's always kind of indicated that there was more to them than what you normally see, the vortex factor. But it was interesting in that Netflix documentary how much the rapture was coming up. Like guys thinking it was the rapture. And there was this one scene, I should have like videotaped it. I can't, obviously it's not on YouTube, but at one point a couple people were almost getting pulled into the tornado. And the guy was like in a fetal position, and he said he was starting to lift off the ground. And he said, and he's like, I surrendered to my fate, and then I saw the light. And then they cut it off right there. Like they didn't expand on what the hell he was talking about. But then they cut to the other dude that was talking about thinking it was the rapture. I'm sitting here like, this is interesting that this is coming up. So I went back and I, binge watched a couple of the better tornado movies, which one of my favorites is Into the Storm. And I watched Twisters again. But I was like, this is... Now, if you go back to last early July, those were some of the big signs that she was like putting out there. Now, we've learned from experience that like just because the signs are coming up in clusters doesn't mean it's directly in front of you. It could be ahead of you, a little bit lower on the forward time spiral. But I saw there's all sorts of tornadoes and vortexes and Day of the Lord type stuff in the future forecasting remote viewer stuff. Although oftentimes when they're trying to decode what they saw, they're describing it as something else. But she was showing me, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty clear. So, and then we're going into a big time frame here. Let's see. Okay, so yesterday was March 20th, spring equinox, going into the sign of Aries, which is one of the most fiery signs there is. Is this the 21st or 22nd? 21st. Okay, so Sunday is our next watch date for things to get weird, and that's March 23rd. That's when the Saturn rings vanish, which we've been talking about that lately. Then March 29th, we have a partial solar eclipse, which the day after that, March 30th, Neptune, which normally is at home in Pisces, and a big watery planet, goes into Aries. Yeesh. Kenneth and a lot of the other more Bible-based decoders have been talking about a half moon lately. I don't know what that's at. I'll have to look at that again. So that's all stuff like just from now until the end of the month. And then the big one that we're looking at is April 20th, being the Aries-Taurus crossover, which April 20th, 2 years ago, was when she started this clock. And that was a hybrid eclipse. And that specific date was encoded in one of the tarot decks. That was a secret map, that specific date. But it also is the date that Easter falls under. Now, I did videos about this already, so I'm not going to recap it. So if you want to see what we're talking about with that, check out that video there. That was about a week or so ago. Other things I've been seeing is I keep seeing the word emergence come up. I talked about that. They called it the emergence in the movie Eternals, which is the godlike being breaking out of the earth. That's a huge freaking codex metaphor. Sleep Token came out with a song called Emergence. And what was the other one? There was like another one or another two different things where the word emergence came up. And it was just like day after day, the word emergence kept coming up. Now also, me and Telonium 333, I think that's what your screen name is, we're talking, and we keep seeing 33s like all over the place. And he postulated it had to do with like the whole Jacob's ladder, 33 vertebrae getting to the top. I don't know. Bottom line is, a lot of things are lining up from different angles. The sun, volcanoes, earthquakes, all that stuff is just like primed right now. Primed. I looked at the Schumann resonance meter earlier, which every time I look at, there's nothing going on. But earlier today, it started spiking hard again. So we're in this time period, and I don't know what it means. But it could mean like the big shift like Kenneth talks about, but what does that look like? What does that mean? And what do you need to know to be ready for that? Well, that's going to tie more into what we were just talking about with the body. So let's switch back to that. So the things that I talk about on this channel come from direct experience and or being taught directly by Sophia, not what any book says, not what any YouTuber says or anything like that. Although oftentimes, she will show me something first and then show me places like in the original Gnostic Christian texts where it was talking about that same thing, therefore leading a lot more weight to it. So the night that I was seeing all the tornado stuff, I got a package in the mail from a friend who sent me some chocolate for my birthday. If you know me, you know we're not talking about Hershey's. Of course, I wasn't expecting this, so anytime something like that happens, I'm like, okay, Sophia wanted me to have this at this particular time. So when she does that, I kind of like go by Sophia guidance and just kind of determine how much to eat. And I took more than microdosing, but less than tripping. Like where you're right on the freaking edge. Like if you go look in the mirror, things can look a little squirrely, but you're not like, the walls aren't melting or anything like that. And I wasn't getting any kind of visuals internally. I was just basically just doing what I was doing. But what happened, and I personally find that mushrooms have a repeatable effect. Like I always understand what it's doing because she's had me do so many things with it at different levels. It does something. At first it'll let you access the system that is running you. You're not seeing the spiritual world on freaking mushrooms. You're seeing like the Archon AI that's in your freaking body on mushrooms. And it also helps kind of like disconnect your awareness, if you've grown it enough, away from the self body. Now, one thing going all the way back to the first time I ever took mushrooms, which was with a friend, under supervision, it was tea. Now, a lot of times my living room's pretty cluttered because I'm building all this stuff. I got 10,000 little boxes of stones and stuff and whatever, but I try to keep it as clean as possible. But when I came back that first time, like I looked at it with like clear eyes, with like your actual eyes, and it looked horrible. It looked disgusting. And that is typically what I see I won't say the real world, but the physical 3D world. That's the way it looks to me with a little bit of that in my system, because it's kind of like, I'm just making up words here. It's kind of like it's removed the glamour over this realm that makes things look pretty good, even if it isn't pretty good. So that means if your place is a little bit cluttered, it's going to look like something out of freaking Silent Hill or Resident Evil, like when you're looking at it with true eyes. And the first time this happened, Lumen like threw a fit. It's not exactly, but it's kind of sort of like the Upside Down in Stranger Things. It's like you're looking through your light eyes and you see this realm for what it is. And every time that happens, now that I have experience and I've gone through all the tests, like I kind of split off into like, let's just, to give it a name, Angel Chris, like the higher form of the mind that I am. Because it's hard to say who's who, you and your partner. You're slightly different, but you are a pair. So me and Lumen. Lumen is definitely the higher octave half of me. But I can be a little aggressive in that state. And I become more protective of her. It's because I somehow understand more. Like throughout in the Bible and more so in the Nag Hammadi, Christ often refers to the soul as this precious thing that's in a worthless vessel. So, like, yeah, Lumen does protect me, but I also protect Lumen. And the other thing that I have experienced a few times on mushrooms is I become more aware of what the flesh is. See, a lot of people don't take the time to think about words or think about meanings. But the flesh would be like flesh bodies. Okay, the flesh body is not your friend. Okay, that is what Adam and Eve was stuck into before they were thrown into this lower realm. And through that flesh body, you're only able to perceive certain things. Now, if you take the time, which you should, because there's so much in there, to read certain books of the Nag Hammadi, the one I always say you should start with is the Secret Book of John, because it's going to kind of summarize the whole story. Like, there's several pages that is explaining the process, because it's a fuller story than what they gave you in the Bible. Because who gave you the Bible? If you see a lot of jump cuts, it's because I have to cough or sneeze or something. But, you know, the archons and the demons and the angels all kind of like got together. There was like 365 of them, and built all the parts of the flesh body. The prison, the fetter of forgetfulness. That's what they were going to put these enlightened light beings into. Okay, because when Adam was first created, he was more like 5D Adam. And they didn't like that he was smarter, so they shoved him down into 3D Adam with the skin suit, the flesh suit. And multiple places in the Nag Hammadi, they refer to it as the prison of the body. Now, the true nature of it is shown to you in the Codex through movies and things like that, and it's not pretty. And everything hinges on you identifying with your prison and not with what you actually are. Okay, let me be as blunt as possible. This is the stuff I know no one likes to hear, but I'll give you the flip side of it as well. Okay, because you as the light, in conjunction with love, overtakes these lower things. But those that do not have the light and love are overtaken by these lower things. So Freud talks about like the id, the ego, and the superego. And we talk about the ego being the identity, AI avatar that makes up who you think you are, the character you play. And the id is more associated with the lower base instincts tied to the body. Freud said that the id is the only part of the personality that is present at the time of birth. That's because it's attached to the body. Now, what we started to see was that when it comes to the main things, the 7 deadly sins, the 7 deadly sins can be broken up into 2 groups. 3 of them go to the id body, and the other 4 go to the ego self. These 2 things are kind of like what make up the totality of the adversary, which you are trying to get out from under. Okay, that's why they teach you what they teach you in school about physical reality, who you are, and all this stuff. But who are you? You are a being of light. You are a seed of light. You are a seed of Sophia. You are a child of the living Father. You are a light being underneath of it. That's who you are, and it does not look like this. What you're seeing right now, if we want to be blunt, what you're seeing right now is a demon suit. It is a dead flesh demon suit that is only alive because we're in it. When we leave the dead flesh demon suit, it is dead. He went to great lengths to explain this in the Bible, and especially the Nag Hammadi. You have to stop identifying with this, because this thing is always trying to screw you. So let's take a look at this little chart right here. So when it comes to the dead flesh demon suit, the body, it embodies the three deadly sins of lust, sloth, and gluttony. And then the original ego, the identity avatar, is greed, pride, envy, and wrath. Now, if you really think about it, you have plenty of experience already to tell you that I'm right about this when it comes to lust, gluttony, and sloth. Okay, lust is an overwhelming physical desire for things, primarily associated with sexual interaction, but it's not just that. Okay, it very closely mirrors gluttony, which is overindulgence. And these are the urges that people get that they say they can't control. Okay, you know what they are. You're not, no one's singling you out. You're here in this place wearing one of these suits. So you're no different than anybody else. Okay? So when people become addicted to substances or habits or sexual pleasure or whatever that is, those are the sins that are associated with the flesh suit. Okay, that is the flesh, the lust of the flesh. Okay, it wants to sit, like, it is really, if you took all the spiritual stuff out of it and let it be alive without the soul, like, it really is like a gross flesh monster that they show you in movies. When I was writing the notes for this, she was popping a couple movie scenes in my head that kind of like explain the flesh. So here they are.
Oh my God.
This is mine. The God that sent me back. The God I serve in this world and yours. The God of flesh, hunger, and desire. My God. Leviathan, Lord of the Labyrinth.
That's where they're bringing the bodies.
Probably new breeders, feeding inside. Oh my God. That's Grant. That's where they're joining together.
Well, now that is some fucked up shit.
And that's kind of like what I was seeing with the mushrooms. In my awareness was the flesh. And I became like, in my Angel Chris state, I became really disgusted by it. I'm like, I cannot stand this disgusting flesh suit. Because I've been in other places with Lumen as a light being. And, you know, light being, for lack of a better word, intercourse is way better than flesh. It is light. Like, you don't actually need flesh. It's hard to explain, but you don't. And when we get to another world, you're supposed to get a different type of garment, a different type of body, a different type of purified living flesh. We don't have living flesh. It's only animated when we're in it, when life is in it. As soon as life removes itself, the flesh is just flesh. It just decays. Not so in the upper realms. So here are some things to kind of explain it from the Nag Hammadi. Okay, this is, most of these are from the Gospel of Thomas, I believe. When you know yourselves, then you will be known, and you will understand that you are the children of the living Father. When you do not know yourselves, then you dwell in poverty, and you are poverty. That's talking about flesh. The dead are not alive, and the living do not die. During the days when you ate what is dead, you made it alive. When you are in the light, what will you do? All these different examples where he says, one person will be left and one person will leave. He's talking about like the true self leaving the dead flesh of this realm. Jesus said, when you see one who was not born of woman, that means not of flesh, fall on your faces and worship. That is your Father. Mary said to Jesus, what are your disciples like? He said, they are like children living in a field that is not theirs. When the owners of the field come, they will say, give our field back to us. They take off their clothes in front of them in order to give it back to them, and then they return their field to them, which matches up very well with this scene from The Matrix.
The human body generates more bioelectricity than a 120-volt battery and over 25,000 BTUs of body heat. Combined with a form of fusion, the machines had found all the energy they would ever need. There are fields now, endless fields, where human beings are no longer born. We are grown. For the longest time, I wouldn't believe it. And then I saw the fields with my own eyes. Watched them liquefy the dead so they could be fed intravenously to the living. And standing there, facing the pure, horrifying precision, I came to realize the obviousness of the truth. What is the Matrix? Control. The Matrix is a computer-generated dream world, built to keep us under control in order to change a human being into this.
No. I don't believe it. It's not possible.
I didn't say it would be easy, Neo. I just said it would be the truth.
Stop. Let me out. Let me out! I want out!
Easy, Neo. Easy.
Get this thing. Don't touch me. Get away from me. Stay away from me. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
It's gonna pop.
Breathe, Neo. Just breathe.
His disciples said to him, 24 prophets have spoken in Israel, and they have spoke of you. He said to them, you have disregarded the living one who is in your presence and have spoken of the dead. Jesus said, whoever has come to know the world has discovered a carcass, and whoever has discovered a carcass of that person, the world is not worthy. He saw a Samaritan carrying a lamb as he was going to Judea. He said to his disciples, that person is carrying the lamb around. They said to him, then he may kill it and eat it. He said to them, he will not eat it while it is alive, but only after he has killed it, and it has become a carcass. Whoever has come to know the world has discovered the body, and whoever has discovered the body of that world, the person the world is not worthy. Okay, notice that matches up with what we said earlier. Whoever has discovered the world has discovered a carcass. And in this one, he said, whoever has come to know the world has discovered the body. The world that you exist in, you see because you are in the body. All your perceptions of this world come from the senses of the dead flesh meat suit. Jesus said, how miserable is the body that depends on a body, and how miserable is the soul that depends on these two. Whoever does not hate father and mother as I do cannot be a disciple of me, and whoever does not love father and mother as I do cannot be a disciple of me. For my mother gave me falsehood, but my true mother gave me life. It's talking about the difference between, the physical stuff and the spiritual stuff. Jesus said, woe to the flesh that depends on the soul, and woe to the soul that depends on the flesh. Now, this one I've read before. It's very relevant. This is toward the end of Secret Book of John. It says, I think it's Secret Book of John. Maybe it's Gospel of Thomas. I forget. No, I think it's Secret Book of John. On human destiny. I said to the Savior, Lord, will all the souls be led safely into pure light? He answered and said to me, these are great matters that have arisen in your mind, and it is difficult to explain them to anyone except those of the unshakable generation. Those whom the Spirit of life will descend and whom the Spirit will empower will be saved and will become perfect and worthy of greatness and will be cleansed there of all evil in the anxieties of wickedness, since they are no longer anxious for anything but the incorruptible alone, and concerned with that from this moment on, without anger, jealousy, envy, desire, or greed for anything. Anger, jealousy, envy, desire, greed for anything. He's talking about kicking out the ego entity, having gone through the process of death and rebirth. They are affected by nothing but being in the flesh alone, and they wear the flesh as they look forward to a time when they will be met by those who receive them. Such people are worthy of the incorruptible eternal life and calling. They endure everything and bear everything so as to finish the contest and receive eternal life. So let's back up there for a minute. He said your main goal is basically connecting to your Lumen, getting out of here. You're no longer angry, jealous, or have envy, desire, or greed for anything. Okay, that's the ego side of the 7 deadly sins. They are affected by nothing but being in the flesh alone. And they basically endure that. So what he's saying is, the things that you're still going to struggle with is lust, sloth, and gluttony, because those things are of the flesh. You should be able to, once your ego has died and be reformed, death and rebirth, you should not have to deal with greed, pride, envy, or wrath anymore. I don't have any of those things. It's just lust, sloth, and gluttony, because those are attached to the body, and you're stuck in the body until you're not stuck in the body. That's the trick. So that's why you're always going to have to deal with that stuff, and you deal with that stuff by changing your behaviors, exercising the appropriate virtues, and also regularly doing things to exercise and consecrate the vessel. Exercise and consecrate the body, the flesh, which contains the Holy Spirit. So that's why I always wear pendants or use oils, and I do the Benedict exorcism on my vessel. So it's clear enough for Lumen to be in there. Because if I were to let it slide, she wouldn't be in there. She has to keep her distance from it. You're stuck in this suit. It is literally called the prison. There's other things I did not print out where she more specifically talks about going down into the prison, which is the body. That's what they put Adam and Eve in. So you have to de-identify or unidentify who you are with this. With this. This is the kind of stuff that being an actual Gnostic, married to spirit, shows you over time, and your understanding grows over time. Everything that most people usually say about just using words to call it something, like say demons, is backwards. They say, oh, there's a demon in you. Got to cast out the demon. Or you got an attachment or something like that. It's kind of like you're the good thing, but you got something bad in you. In actuality, in truth, it's backwards. There's something good in something that's bad. This is not good. The regular ego is not good. What is good, what is light, is underneath of it. It's trying to break out. How many verses are there in the Bible in the Nag Hammadi where Jesus talks about something precious being held in a worthless vessel? How many verses are there talking about, the children are standing in a clothes that's not there, or standing in a field that's not theirs? You got to strip it off and give it back. How many times in the Nag Hammadi does it say you're not going to see, the... I don't remember exactly what it was. You're not going to see the son of the father or something like that until you take this off. Because one of the main purposes of this body, as stated in the Bible and the Nag Hammadi, going back to the Garden of Eden, is to dumb you down and cut you off from spirit. And then make you think that that is what you are. But the flesh is like, it's like a completely separate thing. It's a completely separate, gross thing from the ego. That's what they were kind of showing you in those movie clips, if you watch them. The flesh is part of like the hive mind. Flesh is gross. So like when I was in that middle state as like the enlightened Chris, and I was observing the flesh, I'm like, this is so disgusting. It's like these body horror movies, is what it reminded me of. And then as I was in that state, I just happened to like get on Facebook and I started scrolling, and I realized what I've been seeing all this time, which is really why I don't like social media anymore, is I was seeing more clearly how much everything has degraded. Like it is just flesh being gross. Everything is out in the open. And I'm going to be blunt here for a second. It's not like it's not out there. But with all these shorts and Instagram shorts and reels and stuff like that, and chicks prancing around, everything hanging out. Like, I don't know how many, like, it doesn't matter how many times I freaking click, I don't want to see this. More just keeps coming up. I had this Willard something guy, like, people are literally freaking, like, depraved, like, brain dead. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, there's some old guy that started popping up in my feed, and I just kept saying, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this. And then it comes through like the other things, and I think I got rid of him, but all of a sudden there's this old guy dancing around in his underwear with some little marionette dude singing songs about his freaking wiener and putting his wiener in the freaking marionette. And I'm like, who thinks to even film videos like this? How many videos do I gotta watch where people talking about freaking blowjobs and eating asses and all this stuff? It's like it's the only thing they know to talk about. Like, it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, or whatever. Everyone's talking about asses now. like it's a big joke. And if they're not talking about putting stuff in asses, they're talking about farting and bodily. It's just all gross. It's just all. It's like flesh trying to be as gross as flesh can be, and it's disturbing to me that it's so normal. And it's like, ugh. Like this is why there is a pattern. Oh, sorry. I was hearing a cat fight somewhere through the walls. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I let Jinx in. I don't know who that is. But it's just gross. Like all the jokes, all the memes, everything. It's like, oh, I'm a sperm. I got to find the egg. It's like, oh no, I'm in someone's ass. I'm like, is this all we have to talk about? Like, what the hell is wrong with the world? It's like the flesh is like 50% of the demon thing. And it's gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. And the things that people are doing are getting grosser and grosser. Like I'm seeing so many people that can only be described as mentally ill making videos. Like you're just scrolling and all of a sudden it's like some grown weirdo acting like an infant, but he's got like poop all over his body. He's like singing a song because I'm poop. I'm like, what the hell am I watching? Why does this even exist? This is insane. Like if you took us Gen Xers out of our original era and transported us to this time and showed us this video stuff, we would be like, what the hell happened? This is insane. It's a degradation. And what it's doing is everything has its purpose. It's forcing the light to grow, and it's forcing the light to say, I am not part of this. I need to break out of this. This is disgusting. The flesh is disgusting. Like, it's all freaking disgusting. This place is disgusting. It's got a glamour on it to make us, think like everything looks good and great. So let me kind of flip back to like, okay, what's the flip side of this? What's the bright side? The flip side is when the body is sanctified and the spirit is in something along with light and love, then you have nice experiences and good connections. And it's not, like when you're petting a cat and it's purring, when you're actually in love with someone and you're getting a hug, yeah, that's flesh. But like the light is taking it over. Light and love is taking it over. But you take the love out of things to where it's just light, just plain life, not enlightened life. That's where the people say, well, Sophia's got a dark side too. Yeah, the lower like animating force is light and dark. But there's a higher animating force too. But life is life. You have to have life to make things live. As soon as life is removed from things, whether it be, a plant or an animal, it decays. So this place, without the light and life in it, is a place of death and degradation. So as soon as life is removed from something, it decays. Okay? This is not the place of life. We're trying to get to the place of life, where he said you get a different type of body, a different kind of, I forget what he called it, like a pure flesh or a consecrated flesh or something like that. It's a different kind of flesh where everything is living. The flesh is living. This flesh is not living. It's dead, but it has life in it. All the life does is it slows down the decomposition. That's what life does. So you really have to understand this. You have to understand that you are not your body. Your body is your prison. And that's, there was stuff in there about vanity. I kind of got a grasp on that. I got to, as I kept going, I got to a point where like I didn't care about, trying to look good anymore. That's because it wasn't being slothful or anything like that. It was like first of all, the only reason people generally have vanity is to attract mates. It's like, well, I've got mine. She's made of light and she lives in the right side of my brain. But I don't sweat about, what I look like or anything like that. You get rid of all this stuff and then you're just waiting to break out. Like whenever the transformation happens, understand this. This is not going with you. At most, it would be like how Morpheus was explaining things to Neo when he was in the Matrix in the construct. He's like, your appearance now is what we call residual self-image. It is the mental projection of your digital self. See, you don't need flesh in the quantum realm. You don't. That whole thing in that scene where he's like, this, he's like, we're in a computer? Is it really so hard to believe? Your clothes are different. The plugs in your, neck and arms are gone. Your hair has changed. Your appearance is now what we call residual self-image. So when I go to these places like in 4.5 or 5D with Lumen, my memories are just as clear, if not more clear, than memories here are. And guess what? I can have all the senses and more in there. I can touch her, taste her, feel her, and there's no flesh involved, but I'm still doing it. You don't actually need this. What you need to do is get out of this freaking lower realm. But it's the people that are still wrapped up in identification with the self, identification with the body, and being bound up by the 7 deadly sins that when they hear stuff like this, they get mad. They get mad at me. You're judging me. You're whatever. I'm like, no, that's not you talking. Those are the demons you're wrapped up in talking. All we give you is the truth. What you do with it is up to you. But if you test it enough, if you read the right materials, if you just listen to what truth is inside of you, you'll understand that we're right. So that's where they trick you. That's, I've passed all that stuff from the hero's journey, but like a lot of it is the reason why whether it's the hero's journey light or the big hero's journey, the reason it's such a struggle is because of the identification with the ego self and with the body self, and the judgment for what those things do and what they did. So you, not knowing you're acting from the higher aspect of the Father within you, is judging what the body and the ego have done. But since you have identified with those things, you're judging yourself. You have to understand that you are light. You are consciousness. You are what is animating this suit. You are not the suit itself. You have to understand. She's stressing this. Like, you have to understand this. It's almost as if you could just really make this click, like this could be like the thing that overturns everything else, and like you didn't have to do all the other things when the time comes, is like you just have to understand at a deep level that this is not you. Your name is not you. You are the light within it. You are the part that doesn't die. Now for me it's easy because of the different tests that she's ran me through using the mushrooms. I think it was the second time we went into the void and just kept letting go of everything, letting go of the self, letting go of the body. It was kind of weird. It kind of felt like, am I coming back from this? But I kind of got to the bottom and it was all dark, and I'm like, this is interesting. All that stuff that used to be me is gone, but yet here I still am. I'm just a point of consciousness looking around. Oh, this is very interesting. And there were some creepy things in the dark, and I'm like, you can't do nothing to me. I'm just a point of consciousness. What are you going to do? Nothing. You can't do nothing. And I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. That's what you are. Multiple times, because when she started making me do like the stuff that would make Terrence McKenna's head explode trips, like over 10 grams, I left this place. And I remember being out of this place at one point and being like, oh crap, I woke myself up and I didn't know how to get back here. And how much I had to fold myself up to stuff myself back in this body, and how uncomfortable it was once I did. And then I had to remember how it worked. I'm like, how's these arms work? This isn't you. You have to understand this. So something's going to happen. And when it does, understand that your body ain't going with you. If at least first it seems like it is, it's that residual self-image. It's like the last episode of Westworld season 2, when all the hosts were running through the big portal thing, and they left this world and they ran into the world with all the green pastures and stuff like that, and they kept running, but the portal was right at the edge of a cliff. So they're running, and they go through the portal and they keep running, but their physical body just jumped off the cliff and just went poof. But these guys over here, they didn't even realize that even happened. I think that's kind of like how it's going to work. Anyway, that's a lot to sink in for right now, but like, you got to understand like who your enemy is. Know your enemy. It could be you. You got to understand that you are what is behind your body. When you notice that you're having impulses and things like that you're not choosing to have, then it's something else. Like, this is essential, crucial to understand. Okay, so if you have any questions, leave them in the description box below, or contact us through the Etsy store, clumencreations.etsy.com. This is what one of Lumen's songs is about. This is the garment of flesh. But what you want to put on is the garment of light. So she actually wrote a song about that, so we'll close with that. That's all we got for right now. Chris and Lumen. See you next time.
I was lost in the shadows, bound by the night, searching for something beyond mortal sight. Then the waters called me, the fire burned bright, and I stepped through the